Hey, this is Derek. Last week I went on a visa run to Macau, and then I went on a 3-day kind of jungle survival tour in northern Thailand where we caught frogs and tarantulas and slept on the ground. It's a little brutal, kind of fun and interesting experience. In November I basically finished the rough draft for a novel, so I'm really excited to edit that. December is basically an editing month. I'm going to be editing 2 books that are nearly done, and then hopefully 1 or 2 nonfiction. Nonfiction is easier for me. I have a lot of projects on the back burner I've been avoiding for years, but now that I've reached the point where I really need to get them done. So what I have actually is a checklist of 21 things that I want to work on this month, and these specifically are all about optimizing my evergreen funnels. So an evergreen funnel just means people come, they find you, they find your website, and they have a need, you have a solution, you try to get them to buy your solution. And I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years. I've been trying to switch from active services to passive income products. So instead of building one thing for one person for a high price point, you build one thing for tons of people, probably at a lower price point. I've been playing around with different prices and different products. I have a lot of content now. I have a lot of traffic, which is great. What I'm weak on is conversion. So the people who get into my funnels, I'm not so good at leading them towards a sale, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Partly it's because I give everything away for free. I don't really ask for the sale. I don't really focus on why they need the benefits. There's lots of things I'm still doing wrong in regards to copywriting, and that's actually a whole new skill that I can learn. I have a couple courses on copywriting. I'm not sure if I'll get to this month, but what I want to do in this video is kind of show you these 21 ways that you can improve your evergreen funnels in case you're interested in building an evergreen funnel, or you just want to boost conversion to your evergreen funnel. I also have noticed, like, when I have services, it's actually easier for me to sell services. I never had a problem earning with book cover design or editing. There's tons of demand. I'm really good at what I do. I have a lot of testimonials and a lot of case studies and proof, basically. So if I put up a landing page, I can sell services. The problem is I don't want to sell my time for money that way, because then I don't have time to work on my own creative projects. I can't really scale my business. I can't really grow my business. I was always like capped. I was making like 10 or 12K a month pretty consistently, but I was burnt out and I just couldn't grow it. I couldn't do better than that because I wasn't able to do more work. I tried building out like big teams, but then you become kind of a manager of a lot of projects. It's not really what I want to do either, so I've decided that courses and digital products are kind of where that's what works best for me. That's how I can provide a lot of value for a lower price point to lots of people and also have time for my own writing. Okay, it's later on in the day. I'm in this Japanese restaurant, but on the second floor there's nobody here, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this video, and I'm going to go through this checklist of the 21 things that I want to get done this month, which should have a pretty big impact on my recurring passive income. So the first one, number 1, is consistency. So with consistency, on the one hand, that just means making sure all of the information about your offer is the same. So the same things you're saying on your emails or your sales page, or the thank you confirmation page, the checkout page, same price, same details. That should actually be easy, but what you'll notice is if you have lots of different blogs or blog posts, or maybe you put up a post a year or 2 ago, there tends to become a lot of inconsistencies with your messaging or what you're offering, and it may be confusing. If it's all confusing, people will just leave. So an example that I have right now on a lot of my materials from my main course, people are clicking from my offer and I say it's $497. On the actual sales page it says $997, and even though there's a discount with $500, it's still just disconcerting, and some people get confused, so it converts less. But something else that happened interestingly this week, a while ago I put up a little offer that was basically something I saw at publishing conferences, where editors were offering this package of literary critique where they'd look at their proposal, basically their pitch, so their summary, maybe a chapter outline, all the materials they would organize and send to an agent or publisher to get feedback on. So that was kind of an interesting thing, because I don't do really editing anymore, but especially the marketing stuff, or like the positioning your book to sell to an agent or an editor, that's kind of a fun thing that I like to do anyway. So I put up an offer on Book Butchers, which is my editing site. And I have always kind of thought that Book Butchers doesn't get a lot of traffic, so the people who go to that site already probably have found me, or they're on my email list, or they follow me on YouTube or something. But what actually happened is we got 2 sales this week. So people bought the package, but they didn't know who I was, and they didn't know that I was the one who was going to be doing it. So when I didn't set up the payment stuff right, so like they bought it from Book Butchers, but it showed up as Creativity on PayPal, so they got confused when I reached out to them, and they're like, well, I signed up at Book Butchers, who's Derek, how does he have the qualifications or whatever. So that was really interesting, and in both cases they just kind of, $7.49, it's a lot of money. People just want to make sure that as soon as they buy something, they feel secure, they feel like this wasn't a mistake. They know what they're getting into, what they get matches what they thought they were getting. So there's a lot of little things that I can do just in that checkout process with consistency to make not only the sale, but also especially right after the sale to make people feel good and safe in their decision. So this leads into number 2, which is thank you videos or getting started videos. And this is something I want to be doing both on the opt-ins and also after they buy something. So what it would basically look like, a lot of my stuff comes from, it's the DIY book covers or templates. I get a lot of YouTube views for like book design, book formatting. But when people sign up for my things, the landing page of what I give them is just like a whole dump of all of this free stuff. It's a little bit overwhelming. They don't really know how to use it all. And if they don't start using it, they're not going to keep opening my emails. They're not going to value my content or maybe upgrade to a pro package or something like that. So the really big win here would be, first of all, after they sign up for something, to show them a video or educate them to open my emails. So that's something I've just kind of started doing, but you don't just want to send them to the free stuff right away. You kind of want to make sure that they know what's coming next or what they're missing. So they sign up for one thing. If they get it, they're not going to open any of your emails. They're not going to get to know you and what you have to offer. So you have to make sure immediately after they sign up, you tell them, thanks for signing up. I'm giving you this right now, but there's these other things that are really critical that you really need, and I'm going to be, slow dripping them or giving them out by email over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you open my emails. At the end of the 2-week sequence, I'm going to give you another bonus gift. Kind of just set the stage. And this is something, I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about it later, but when I was working on my new recent course, which is on writing bestsellers, basically, I did some really cool research on nonfiction, especially writing your first chapter or the introduction or the preface, where it's all just about positioning them and getting them excited to actually read the book, because they may lose interest in the first chapter, the second chapter, unless you've already kind of told them why they need to keep reading the whole book, what benefits they're going to expect from going through the whole book. So these are things you can also use in your email sequence. So getting started videos, like this is the stuff, this is how you use it, and then if you need more help, here's an upgrade offer or something else I have to offer, things like that. But then also a thank you video as soon as they buy any product, which also really clearly walks them through how to use it, what they're going to get, makes them feel safe and secure, lets them know to reach out for any questions. Basically, just increasing the immediate satisfaction. You don't want people to buy and have buyer's remorse immediately, because that's like how they're going to feel about you and your brand. You want every interaction with you to be good and positive, even if it's something, what I might try to do is something simple, like you put an animated GIF or like a picture of a kitten. I think I was doing this before. Instead of a tripwire offer or like something after they sign up, it's just something fun and easy that gets them to feel good, so that when they think of you and your brand, they're thinking of positive emotions. So the third thing, I think I kind of mentioned it before, on those 2 funnels, I have a landing page of all this free stuff, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff, and they don't really know what to do with it or where to get started. What I want to try to do is redo that all into a really clean, basically a downloads or resources page. So I saw this on a few other platforms recently, where after you sign up for something, you're immediately taken to like a free course. So the free video course is just one page with like 3 videos on subject 1 and 3 videos on subject 2, maybe like 9 or 12 videos on just this one page. That's a massive value. Puts everything really together so that when people sign up, they can just see like, here's all this stuff. You're basically trying to get them to understand and learn and appreciate your method of doing things in a way that provides massive value, so that they can actually get all the value, they can start using whatever you're offering them, and they can see quick wins or immediate results, because then they're going to trust you, then they're going to take action. And part of it, like I said earlier, is, which is also important in a nonfiction book, is just to get them to take action. So things like overcoming their limiting beliefs or filling them with enthusiasm and motivation and optimism, because if you don't get them fired up by showing them the end result, by showing them it's possible, by showing some case studies or testimonials or quotes, like you want to get them to believe in the dream so that they'll take action, but then you want to give them really clear steps so that they can actually take action and see results. Only then are they going to become acolytes or advocates, people who really buy into your system, or it doesn't have to be a system, your product, whatever you're selling, your book even. And then at the bottom of that free series, which would be basically like a free course, but instead of separating it into like Teachable, which is what I use with a whole bunch of different modules, it'd just be like one great page with lots of different videos on it. I just think it makes a really impactful thing. Like you sign up and you get all this value like at once in a really clean, organized manner. So that's something I'm going to go back and try to fix. And at the bottom of that page, I would have an upsell. I would have, you know, if you don't have time for all these videos, if you want the next step, I would have that upsell. So I'm going to talk later about other ways to do this, but basically instead of getting them to opt in and then putting them through an education series, which only 30% of people are actually going to follow up and read, immediately giving them all this stuff. And there's arguments for or against, but I think the value of just giving them a page where they can bookmark and come back to and watch at their leisure and go through all of this stuff, and then having the upsell on that page immediately so that they can kind of go forward. I've also seen someone do this as kind of a relationship funnel where everything's all there. Like instead of slow dripping things out in an email series over a couple of weeks, you would just have like one page with one message, and then they would click the link to go on to part 2 or the second video, and they could kind of self-pace or self-study their way through the free materials to get to the core offer later at their, like, instead of like trusting them to open your emails at the pace that you want to set for them, just giving them the material so they can go at their own pace. I think that's kind of a cool thing I want to try playing with. Number 4 is a product display reel. So I haven't had good videos for my products for a really long time. They're usually just like this. It's me talking about the stuff, and that doesn't look very good. It's not very professional. I really need good sales videos that are 1 or 2 minutes long that really hit the benefits. Basically like B-roll of video of happy people publishing or reading, and then, you know, background music, and then specifically the offer, the benefits that people can watch really quickly and just get, like, this is something I want, this is something I'm willing to pay for. That's really valuable, rather than me like talking for 20 minutes about this stuff, especially with the book design stuff, like the book formatting or the book cover design stuff. Of course that should be a visual, because I can't tell you how good the templates are or how easy they are to use. So I'm gonna be making some new videos which are really showing the thing done. So like showing me using the templates or formatting a book from scratch, or like the 10 steps to formatting a book or designing a cover. Possibly with cover design, there's these really amazing videos where you can watch someone make a cover from scratch, but it's sped up. So over like 1 minute, you see the whole process of designing a cover in Photoshop. That looks really cool. I'm gonna start making a few of those. Something else I want to tackle this month is I need to upgrade my Photoshop skills a little bit. There's a lot of really awesome new kinds of cover design art coming out because the tools have gotten easier with things like the DAZ 3D Model Studio. So there's a lot of, you know, amazing covers flooding the market, and I want to make sure I'm you know, the best or as good as my competition at cover design, and also teach people like the stuff that I taught about book cover design 3 or 4 years ago. It's still really valid. It's just not the best, because if you want to be competitive with your books, you need cover design that's competitive right now. So I want to redo a lot of my book cover design stuff and my book formatting stuff, and I want to make like really cool visual videos that show them, you know, how cool it is to go from scratch and design their own covers, and show them that the covers look amazing, and like what the templates look like and how easy they are to use. That's a really benefit. If I show them that stuff in a 1 or 2 minute video, I won't have to have a big sales page talking about it or like convincing them to sell it. I won't need a 2-week funnel or a free video course convincing them to buy my templates, because it'll just be obvious. So that's really a big win that I can do, not only for those, but also for, I have a bunch of little courses now, mini courses, and I could have better sales videos for most of those things. And even like on my opt-in pages, on a lot of my opt-in pages, I don't even have a video like showing what they get when they opt in, so a lot of people don't opt in. So that's something that I can fix with product display videos. So number 5 is, I had written down shortened video course, and it took me a while to remember what that was about. But on the DIY book formats page, what I basically have is the main homepage is a squeeze page, which is just sign up for the free templates. But most of my traffic comes to this other page, which is a free video course on formatting your book in Microsoft Word. And there are probably something like 12 videos. And it's not even my new one. I made a newer one that I think is better, that doesn't get as much traffic. But the old one I made, just because it's been up for a while, it gets a lot of traffic. So one of the things I did a few months ago was I went back through that page, like instead of, because people were they were landing on that page, so they wouldn't go to my homepage and see the sign-up offer. So what I did was break up that video course and just add a sign-up offer, I think twice or 3 times, so that, every 3 or 4 videos it says, you can learn to do all this stuff with the free video series, but you really should just sign up and get my free templates, because it'll save you a lot of time. So I make that offer a couple of times, and that helps a lot. I got a lot more conversion after making that change. But one of the things I should really do, instead of just giving away this entire free course, which is like 12 videos, I should just give away the first 3 or 4 videos, and then have like a summary video that's sped up that says, here are the next 8 steps. But if you want these 8 steps, you need to sign up to my email list to get the free video course. That would be kind of an easy thing to fix. I feel like it's a little bit of an asshole move. On the other hand, I don't have to give away a free video course to everybody. It's totally fine to, put it behind an opt-in wall. So it's something I might do. It probably could be effective. I also want to do something like that on the DIY cover site. I do have a lot of free video courses and stuff on the DIY cover site, but it's a little messy. There's a lot of different stuff going on. I should have one good video course that covers design. I have one on YouTube already that's pretty decent, but I'd like to make a new, more modern one, because it's been a couple years since I've done that. Number 6 is a pretty easy one. It's to put a checklist on the opt-in page or the opt-in pop-up. So right now in my 2 main squeeze pages, which are DIY formats and DIY book covers, I have kind of a couple of headlines and like, get the things. And it's something really interesting I don't think is even on my list, but I'm working with someone who's helping me kind of fix my funnels right now. And we used Crazy Egg or something like it to see what people are actually clicking on. So a kind of cool thing is a lot of people would click on the picture of the templates, but not the button, because they wanted to zoom in and like see the templates. So they're clicking on that image and nothing happened because, I didn't link it to anything. So the change I did yesterday was, since people were already clicking on that image of the templates, I just linked it to the opt-in form. So even if they don't, click the button to sign up for the templates, they'll still see the pop-up, the opt-in subscription box, because they clicked on that picture of the template. So it was kind of, it's kind of crazy. Like, that's not what I would expect people to click on, because it's not a button, there's no call to action or anything, but people do click on it. So I want to make sure that, my page is responding to what people are actually doing. So that was kind of an interesting little thing. But something I've seen work on a lot of other things, and something I used to have on those sites, I think, with a different opt-in page or squeeze page, was a checklist of like, this is what you get, these are the benefits. The way to do those is usually there's a thing with, you want to stress the benefits and I'm blanking on the other word. Hold on. Features. Features was the other word. So benefits and features. The features are like what you get, what's included, the specifics of the thing. The benefits are why it matters, why it's important, why it will help you, focusing on like the long term, the actual things. Usually you can do this with like so that phrase. So you say, hundreds of book design templates so that you can easily format your own cover or books without hiring an expensive designer, or so that you can spend less time formatting and get back to writing. So those, like a list of those kind of things, if you do them well, and you hit the benefits and the features without like giving away the secrets, that can really improve opt-in. So I want to go through my pages. I also used to have a pop-up box that had the checklist of what they get in the opt-in form, and that actually converted really well at like 60% or something. So that's just an easy thing that I will fix to see if that can boost conversions a little bit. So number 7 is a new email sequence, new autoresponder sequence. So this is a whole can of worms that I've been struggling with for a long time. Earlier this year, I read something that really helped me understand how important telling personal stories is. So I took my emails were basically massive value dumps, and there are, like, I complained to my group recently about how, you know, I get hate mail sometimes because people think my emails are too long, or they're too convoluted, or like it's this dump of resources, or they're too fast, they come every day and it's just so much information, people don't have time to consume it all. But I basically went through and I added in all these personal stories. So now they're even longer, but they tell these personal stories. Some people love them. Some people say it's like the best email they've ever gotten. But I also have some people that just don't open them because they're overwhelming, or they don't click on anything because they just skim through. Especially for some of the shorter stuff like the DIY book templates, I would like to test really short, really salesy emails instead of teaching them everything. This is something else I picked up from the book I'm referencing is Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. I read earlier this year. That really helped me, get a lot of clarity about these evergreen funnels and positioning and pricing and offers and stuff. But one of the really interesting things I read, kind of big discovery from this year, was that you don't want to teach them things. First, what you have to do is get them excited about the opportunity. You have to show them it's possible. You have to get them excited so that they take action. Like I mentioned earlier, create the desire by withholding information, by focusing on the case studies. It's possible, but don't actually tell them how to do the things. So I have just like massively given away all this education materials, and that's not useful because first they need the clarity and the motivation and the willpower and the drive to learn the thing, because it is difficult. You can't just get Book Designer or formatting. You have to put in a few hours to learn and to practice, and it's something most people will just avoid if they just want a quick or simple solution. So something I really should be doing in the emails is more like case studies, social proof, testimonials, results, a lot of results, like this formatting to this formatting doubled my book sales, with proof, case studies from people just like them who were frustrated with formatting and spent all this time and money on it, and then broke through. I have tons and tons of testimonials and stuff, but I don't really position them as case studies as well as I should. So that's something I'll be looking more at as well. I actually have I've done a lot of research and bought a lot of programs and stuff this year on email marketing. I have a whole other email funnel that's already written. I just have to plug in and kind of see if it works. And I have tried lots of different versions of email funnels. And so the interesting thing, what people actually say is you have to first launch a product a few times to get your launch strategy, your launch emails as good as possible to make sure it's working, and then you can turn it into an evergreen funnel. I didn't really do it that way, so instead I've just been throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall and seeing what works. But at this point, I do have a lot of history with the things I've tried to sell. I have a lot of really good content. I just need to clean it up and organize it in a better way. Something else with emails, I think might be something I talk about. Oh, it is something I talk about later on the list, so I'll skip that one. But the emails is basically just, you just have to keep, testing it out. And really every month at least, I should rewrite my email sequence and just see if I can do better. It's hard to test with emails to really see what's going on, but if you're driving traffic, or if you have your own evergreen traffic source with content marketing, then it should be pretty easy to just change the email series and see if you make more money, basically. So that's something I want to test. I should be, you can go really deep into it, and you can see, testing your email headlines makes a huge difference. What you put in the subject, what you put for your call to action, testing the buttons in the emails. I want to try adding animated GIFs in the emails. Anyway, there's so many things to test there. It's really difficult to do it well and to do it right. But I also know there's a ton of room for improvement, because I think my emails, even if they're good and people like them, they're not conversion oriented. They're not sales focused. And so, you know, it's great to really help people, but if I just give them all the information, I'm not necessarily helping them. What I actually have to do is get them to buy in and trust me enough to, you know, buy something from me, or at least just, you know, consume my resources and take action. Because if they don't, if they're just passive consumers, they're just going to download tons of free crap. I do this all the time. I sign up for tons of stuff and then I never use it. So my goal is really just to help people to take action and to start using my resources so they can prove my worth. Because if it, you know, the actionable resources, the templates, the education, it's worthless if it doesn't help them, if they don't take action, if they don't use it. So that's not necessarily, I used to just believe that was on them. Like if they don't have the willpower to do the stuff to see results, that's their fault. I don't believe that anymore. I understand that it's my position as an educator to not only give them the resources and the tools, but to also give them the willpower and motivation and optimism to be encouraged and to be excited about the end results. That's part of what I need to be offering and need to be aware of. So that's something I can start with the email series. So number 8 is to test the landing pages or the sales pages. Most of my courses and stuff, the sales pages really aren't that great. I've been using Teachable, which is not set up to create good, well-designed sales pages, which is kind of too bad. I should just make them all in Photoshop and get someone to convert it to HTML. Maybe that's something I'll do in the future, or I should just be using ClickFunnels or something similar. Instapage makes really nice pages. I've been thinking about switching a bunch of my sites to Thrive Themes. Thrive Themes has really nice landing pages and sales pages. But basically, my Teachable sales pages, they're not that great, and it's not just about the design. A lot of it is the copywriting. I tend to oversell or overdeliver, or kind of put together too much information and it's overwhelming. I need to get a lot more clear about selling the benefits, especially like if I already have a long email funnel or a free video course or whatever, or a webinar. If I have all this other stuff, the sales page should be short and clear and simple. I shouldn't have to, like, you know, go over all the same information again. So I know my sales pages need a lot of work. There's a lot of different things that could be done there. I may try to get outside help with the design or the copywriting, which are two huge critical things. And that's another thing where, you know, you can make a vast amount of difference. You could double or triple your sales by focusing on just the one thing, which is the sales page. There's also this thing I've heard where the more expensive the product, the longer sales copy you want. For really cheap cheaper product, like under $100, you shouldn't have a giant sales page that convinces them of all this stuff. And you shouldn't have tons of, you know, price discount or lots and lots of bonuses, because the more you try to prove it, the less credibility, the more people will be skeptical of your offer. Whereas with a longer, more expensive product, it makes sense to have a longer sales page. A lot of my stuff, like some of my sales pages that work the best, are just things I threw together with like no testimonials, no videos, just like a few paragraphs of why I made this course and what it includes. Those tend to convert the best because that's just my authentic description of why the product is necessary and why my product is good. Whereas the ones that, you know, I agonize over and I struggle with for months and months and I keep changing, they tend to grow into this long, messy thing and that people kind of skip through. So I might, you know, eventually put together a blog post or a video about sales page optimization. I could do one just about optimizing Teachable, because I did have to figure out a lot of custom code just to make my Teachable page look decent. That's something I might do in the future, but for this video, that's just one point. I don't know that I will tackle all of my landing pages, but I think for sure there are simple tweaks that I could make to all my landing pages, which would help out a lot. So number 9 is using an application called Proof on my opt-in pages. I had it up a while ago. Proof is a little pop-up that basically shows up and says, you know, somebody from wherever just signed up for the free book cover templates or whatever. It's a little bit of social proof. It's eye-catching. It pops up. It kind of reinforces, you know, oh wow, a lot of other people are getting in on this deal. It just kind of keeps showing up. I haven't really tested. I had it working for a while, and then they put me in some overpriced program, and I was paying like $200 a month or something for it, which I shouldn't have been, so I quit. But I think it's only like $30 a month or something, so I'd like to go back and sign up again and see if I can measure a difference. It should be like an immediate measure, because I can see, like right now, I get 20 or 30 opt-ins a day or more, I think. So if I put that back in for a week, I could really easily see whether or not I get more opt-ins to those specific pages. And if so, that's, you know, an easy boost. For 30 bucks a month, if I can get an extra 30 opt-ins a day, that's great value for me. So that's just an easy thing I will test or tweak. There are some alternatives to Proof you've probably seen on other websites, but Proof is the one that I know I think works pretty well. I met the founder in Portland a couple years ago. Anyway, so that's an easy thing for me to just put on and test. If it doesn't work, I'll just quit again. But probably it will boost opt-ins to, you know, a measurably significant extent. Number 10 is a chatbot or a chat box on the sales page of my courses. So this is something I've heard from, I don't know who, a few different websites I've seen where they said one of the biggest things they did to boost their long-term course sales or product sales is just a chatbot on their sales page. That's pretty easy to set up. I'm online a lot of the times, and when I'm not online, you can actually set up, I had something set up before by Derek Halpern from Social Triggers, and he had built some kind of like a pop-up tool that worked like a chatbot. So you could pop up, it's got like your face, and it's like, hey, this is Derek, do you need help with anything? Or you can change, and you can create this whole big conversation funnel where they can check answers. So you can be like, hey, are you a creative person? They check yes or no. Do you struggle with this? Like, are you a writer or an artist? They pick one or the other. So you can kind of lead them down the conversation and then provide them with the answers or the solutions or recommendations you need. So like after you've had this conversation with them, you can say, oh, I have this book that would really be great for helping you solve this problem that they've just identified. That's a really cool thing. I tried out on Creativity for a while. I think I quit because I was paying monthly and it was hard to measure the benefits of that. But my point is you can set something like that up so that even if you're not online, you can have this immediate feedback or the illusion that they're talking with a real person, which could have a big boost on conversion. So I'm going to try to see, I don't know that I will put those on my websites because I think what I actually found was a regular pop-up or like a slider pop-up or an accident intent pop-up. Those actually converted a lot better than this like conversation style chatbot that I was using on my websites. But on the sales pages for my products, when people land on those pages, they're probably, you know, considering whether or not to buy the product. So that's when they're going to have real questions, and if they can get immediate answers to those questions, they might buy the product. They'll have doubts, they'll have skepticisms, they may not want to read the whole page, especially if it's a long page, but if there's somebody there who's like, hey, do you have any questions? They might have a question. If you answer that question, you might make the sale. So that would be something worth trying out. I don't know exactly what technology I would use to add a chatbot to my Teachable sales page. That's something I have to figure out still. But that's something that should be pretty easy to set up that could have a pretty big boost. I have lots of products, like I said, so if I have something like that on all my products, whenever somebody's considering buying something, I could be there, or I could, you know, have a VA in a different time zone. I could train her to discuss the answer questions or sell the products, basically. I don't have a very sophisticated sales funnel. Like I know people who can close on the phone so that every sale they get on the phone or their salespeople get on the phone so that they can personally overcome all the objections and get the sale. That's like sophistry. I'm impressed by that. I don't necessarily think it's manipulation because I think sometimes people want to buy, they just have fears or hesitations, and if you can make them feel comfortable enough to invest in the solution that's going to actually solve their problem, you're doing them a service. So that's a kind of cool thing to do. Because I'm an introvert, I'd rather have that all set up with like an automated sequence or set it automated sequence or like a set of responses or something like that. I don't really hard sell. When people ask me questions, I'm usually like, you know, buy it or don't buy it. It's not my problem. If you don't see the value in it, then whatever. That's of course not a positive position for me to be taking. I do need to, you know, if I want my stuff to sell, I need to champion it. I need to stand behind it. I need to be prepared to talk about its virtues to people who don't understand the benefits or the features. So number 11 is a personalized video to people who opt into my funnel. So this is obviously really difficult to do if you were going to do it to everybody who opts in. I get like 100 opt-ins a day, so I couldn't really do it. But what I'm thinking is And I had this, I know a guy in Chiang Mai who recently, he had a course offer launch or whatever. I went to his presentation. I was kind of interested, so I sent him a message on Facebook. And instead of replying and answering my question, he just recorded a really quick video on his phone. He's like, hey Derek, I just sent you something by email, go check it out. But all he had really done was send me the offer, like the general stuff. Even so, I was impressed, because when you're chatting with someone on Facebook and they send you like a real video talking to you, especially if they're using your name in the video, it's really impressive. It really makes a personal connection that's unexpected, and you're like, oh wow, this guy, you know, made a video for me. I would like to really test that out. What I've already done, I set up a ManyChat Facebook chat box, a Facebook Messenger bot, so that people who sign up for the Guerrilla Publishing book funnel, they also can opt into the Facebook Messenger chat bot. And all it really does is check in and say, you know, this is day 2 of the challenge, this is day 4 of the challenge, I just sent you a 90-minute presentation, what did you think of the video? That's basically it. It's just reinforcing the funnel for people who don't open the emails. I don't know that it's actually working. Since I set it up, I haven't had, you know, more sales, which is kind of disappointing, but a lot of it's just due to my, you know, my kind of broken funnel or my kind of broken sales page or email. There's a lot of different things that are going wrong right now, so this is all the stuff that I need to fix. I do think it's kind of cool because, like I said, maybe 30% of people are even opening the emails after the initial opt-in, and a lot of those people may not be the right market for your product or services anyway, but putting some kind of a Facebook Messenger bot so that they're also seeing you on Facebook and that you're checking in and providing value. I've seen other people do it, and it's kind of annoying. Like, people do, I've been added to other people's Facebook Messenger bots, and it's kind of annoying. They just keep popping up and saying, you know, hey, I have an offer or whatever. I ignore all that stuff, but I still see it. I see it, and if they send me emails, I don't even see it because I'm probably not opening their emails. So I think the possibility of putting in a video that pops up and is really personalized and is like, hey, you know, this is Derek, I just want to say hi and I sent you something by email, I think that's really cool. Especially since Guerrilla Publishing is one of my higher ticket offers, especially for like more expensive offers, this really makes sense. I probably get 8 opt-ins a day for the Facebook Messenger bot. So I could probably kind of look at those profiles and see if they might be a good fit for my program, and if so, send them a quick message, like a 1-minute video. I could do 10 videos in 10 minutes and just send them straight, you know, from my phone to Facebook Messenger. I think that'd be really fun to test out. Later, I may just add like a more generalized video into the Facebook Messenger bot, what's it called, system or whatever, so it shows up anyway, but it just doesn't have the personalization. Because really, like, you can't scale. You really want to be able to scale. But for now, if I'm testing things out, I'll bet if I, you know, out of the 10 people a day who opt into my funnels, if I'm sending personalized videos to them, that could have a really big difference on sales to my program, my course. I also would really like to test something out where I actually look at their books and I, you know, make it really personal and say, you know, I looked at your book on Amazon, I looked at your website, you should do these 3 things. If you need more help, you know, join my program. That would be awesome, high-value stuff, at least for a couple weeks, you know, to make like 100 of these short videos and send them out to people would just be a really interesting case study. So that's something I'm kind of excited about doing. Number 12 and number 13 are about retargeting ads with Facebook. So if you follow me on YouTube, a few weeks ago, you know, I have known for a while I wanted to get better at Facebook ads and do them well, which means do them profitably, because if you can advertise profitably, you can scale your business, something I've never really been able to do before. But I made some accidents with my Facebook ads, and I spent like $1,500 with 0 results because I screwed up the targeting. But I had a win this week because I did a Black Friday offer, and I set the targeting to conversion, which means I had a bit of code on the thank you page of the product. So Facebook was optimizing for conversions, which meant people who would actually, you know, buy the product and go through to the thank you page. And I also only showed the offer to my own traffic and my own email list, people who already probably know who I am. So it's a warm audience. So that offer converted really well. I spent, and the really cool thing with Facebook ads for optimizing for conversion is you can say, you know, this was a $47 product, and it will show you how many conversions you got. So it's really clear. It shows me like I spent $30 and I got like 48 conversions at $47 and made a bunch of money, which is fantastic. I don't know that I can scale that yet. This was kind of a one-time special offer. It was a really good deal. But I'm really excited about, getting better at Facebook ads, because that's one of the big opportunities going forward. I need to do all of these 21 things to fix my conversions, but after that, Facebook ads is really the thing. Facebook, or also advertising everywhere. There's a lot of other places to advertise where you could get probably much lower cost per click bids, and I'm going to test all that stuff out, but I have to get my conversion down first, which is why I'm working on this stuff first. But the big wins for Facebook ads will be the retargeting. So number 12 is retargeting for opt-in. So all the people who landed on my website but didn't opt in. So for example, on DIY book formats or DIYbookcovers.com, I get maybe 500 visitors a day. So most of those people are probably interested in book design. Most of those people are probably thinking about or helping somebody publish a book. So that's the right audience. But out of those 500 people a day, I only get 50 to 100 opt-ins. I think that's about right. Yeah, I get about 100 opt-ins, so that's not terrible. That's like a 20% conversion rate, which is pretty good actually, but that's still a lot of people. That's like 80% of the people who are my right audience and land on my website, who land and they bounce and they disappear and I never see them again. I may never have another chance to get to know them or put my offer in front of them. So a really easy thing to do would be retargeting the traffic that has already landed on those websites with my opt-in offer. Either the same opt-in offer, like, hey, are you interested in book cover design still? Make sure you get my free book on book cover design, or get my free templates on book cover design. But it could also be different offers, like if you're interested in book marketing, because if they're interested in cover design, they're probably also interested in publishing or launching a book. So that's something. And also I think that the cost for retargeting ads is much lower, because you're not retargeting to a cold audience. They might already kind of be familiar with your face or your name or your platform, but it'll be a warm audience, because they'll probably remember, like, oh yeah, I was just on that website and now I'm seeing the offer again on Facebook. Maybe they didn't have time before, but maybe you can follow up. So that could be a huge win, just doing that one. And then 13 is retargeting the actual signups with open and close ads. So what this means is the people who did sign up for my list, which is, that 100 people a day who signed up because they do want the templates, they are interested in book design, but even so, only 30% of them are opening my emails, which means by the last email, when I'm pitching the product or the discount or the offer or whatever, most of them, like 70% of those people, out of every 100 people who sign up, and that's 3,000 people a month, most of those people aren't ever seeing the offer or the discount or the bonuses. They're never seeing the thing that I wanted them to see. And so what you can do with retargeting Facebook ads is, after they've signed up, you show them the offer and you're like, hey, the cart is open to this special offer, this package deal, the discounts 75% off or whatever, depending on what I'm offering. But you're just showing that offer to the people who already signed up for the thing that your free lead gen or whatever, your free ebook, your free templates, whatever you have to offer, your free course. It's a warm audience and it's the right audience, and you know that the offer is relevant to them, so it can convert pretty well. And also, because with Facebook ads, I don't have to target everybody who signed up, because I'm right now relying on organic traffic, which means a lot of the people who sign up, they may be in third world countries, they may they may not be able to afford my product, they may not be really interested in my product. I can basically set up my ads to screen for the right audience who's more likely to convert by setting up those conversion ads or whatever, which means like I'll be showing a really targeted offer to exactly the right audience at the right time, which means it should convert pretty well actually. And because the majority of people, they don't actually buy when the cart is open, they buy when the cart is closing, when the offer is going away. The discount isn't usually enough to make the sale, it's the loss of the discount. It's the, the deal is ending, it's going away, this is your last chance, doors are closing. That's usually when people feel the sense of urgency or scarcity to buy in. So what you do is you know, whatever your email funnel is. Mine, I think, is like 5 days of education, leading to, you know, the cart is open. If you need more help, sign up for this thing. And then the cart is closing. This is the last chance to get the thing. So you want to set that up with Facebook ads and retargeting. I'm not an expert in this, so I don't totally have it figured out yet. But you can set it up so that, you know, people who signed up to my list or landed on my traffic or thank you page or whatever 6 days ago, you show them in like 5 or 6 days, you show them the opt-in card, and then in 7 or 9 days you show them the closing card. Anyway, there's a way to set all this stuff up, and if you do it right, it's all autopilot, it's all automatic. It automatically just shows the offer and the closing offer to the right people at the right time. That could be a huge boost for all of my courses and funnels, something I'm really excited about figuring out. So that's one of the big wins I really want to do in December, because going forward, like I said, once I figure out everything else, once I'll make a big effort this month to change everything and boost conversions as much as possible. But then going forward, I'll really just focus on boosting Amazon ads, Facebook ads. We'll talk about Amazon ads later, but Facebook ads, because as long as you can be advertising profitably, you can really scale to an unimaginable degree. So I could be, you know, as long as I'm breaking even, I can spend $1,000 a month on ads, or $10,000 a month on ads, or $100,000 as long as I'm breaking even. And what I've also seen is, like, I've always been skeptical of advertising because I think I need to make a much bigger return. But the people who do this really well, they generally only make about double their investment. So if you spend $1,000 on ads, you make $2,000, which is like $1,000 on profit. And that's actually great, because that means if you spend 10 grand on ads, you can make 20 grand on profit. So you're making 10K a month extra. It's the only way to really scale. So it's not so much like you want your conversion to be as good as possible, of course, but also it's okay if you're making 200%, basically. That's what you kind of want to aim for. As long as you're profitable, as long as you're breaking even or better, you can still run ads at no risk and build your platform. And I'm really invested in building my platform because my platform's been, I've made basically the same amount of money, and my platform's been stagnant for the last 5 years almost, because I've been playing around with different things and switching from active to passive income models. So I had to kind of like relearn everything and redo everything. But now I'm in a position to really scale to a much bigger level, which means I can just focus on writing books. I can launch those books to a huge, hungry audience as long as I'm building my email list and building a relationship with those readers in the right way, which is something else I think we'll talk about more later. So those are two, like 12 and 13, retargeting with Facebook ads. Those are two huge things I'm really excited about getting better at this month. So number 15 is thank you videos on the upsells pages. So what I've done recently, and I wasn't doing this in the past, but I've set up some tripwire offers, which means when people first sign up for something, I show them a super cheap discount where they can get something for, you know, $7 or $17 or $27 or something like that. And the reason I'm doing this is basically to make a little bit of money from the people signing up for your list. Like if most people aren't going to buy my more expensive program, that's fine. But some people could buy my cheap intro offer, and I'll be making a little bit of money, which means if I'm making some money from my list, I can afford to advertise, or I can afford to invest in my platform. So that's kind of the reason to do it. I was skeptical about doing it. But the other thing that you can do is if you have a cheaper tripwire offer or an intro offer, you can also immediately give them an upsell offer. So if they buy something for $7 or $27, you can show them something else for another $27 or $47, because the people who buy the one thing may be interested in buying the other thing, which means, you know, if 1 out of every 10 people buy the upsell offer, you're just making some extra money. And I have a lot of different courses now, so I can package them all together. One thing that I haven't tried that someone told me about recently was instead of like offering another thing at a big discount, was to offer a massive package. So instead of like a $7 tripwire and a $27 upsell, it would be like a $7 tripwire and a $97 package with $1,000 worth of courses or something like that. I kind of want to try that because that sounds kind of awesome, and I'm actually like I'm not making tons of money with all these low cost offers anyway, so I don't think it's hurting me, because I think more people are buying things, but they're just buying at a lower price point, which is better than, you know, not selling anything. But I really wanted to, if I fix all my conversion, I won't really need those lower price offers. But with Teachable, what you can do is when people buy something, you can immediately show them a thank you page, which can be an upsell offer. And I've put a few of those up, and they're kind of working. But an easy win would be to add a video to those upsell pages. I already kind of have this like on my Tripwire offers, where if they sign up for the opt-in, they go to a landing page which has the one-time offer, and that has a video of me explaining things or telling them what they get next. And I'm actually going to split test, sorry for the noise. So I'm actually going to split test on the thank you page, like after they opt in. Right now I have a landing sales page with a video. I want to test just the video. Basically it's a Tripwire offer where it's like a thank you, go check your email, here's the video, and then a button only. I think that is kind of a softer sale, and it might actually convert better, so I'm going to test those two things. But also making a video so that after they buy the thing on the upsell page, it's like, thanks, welcome, here's the stuff you can get started, here's how to use the product you just bought, and if you need more help, here's a special offer. Something like that. That's kind of just an extra easy thing that I could add into my funnel. So the next one is number 16, and this is a pretty big one that I'm really excited about. It's kind of my whole thing, which is to have a book. And I kind of learned this, I mean, earlier this year I said I was reading Expert Secrets. I also learned a lot about personal branding and stuff, and the takeaway was most of my nonfiction books are all just education, and what my nonfiction books really should be is like a really long, I don't want to say sales page because that's not the right word, but if you're educating people the right way, you're convincing them to take action. Like, that's the important thing. Your book will be full of personal stories so they get to know and like and trust you. It'll be emotionally relevant. You'll create sympathy with the readers, but it'll be structured in a way so that when they finish reading the book, you've provided a massive amount of value, and they like and they trust you, and they have all these stories, and they think positively about you and your brand. And also, you have a strong offer at the back, which will probably be like a free opt-in offer at the back of your book. If the nonfiction book is done the right way, you can do two really powerful things. So on the one hand, and I think I learned this from John Kramer, I saw he was doing an affiliate offer with somebody else, and they had like a free opt-in download, but in the opt-in, like it was a free PDF, but I think on every page in the footer of the free PDF, it was like, get 75% off of this special offer. I hadn't really seen that done before. I thought it was kind of cool. Like I said earlier, I don't really ask for the sale, but you know, if I have something to sell, if it's a good deal, if it's on a discount or whatever, I like that idea. So I want to test it out, especially because, like I said, a lot of people sign up for my stuff and they might download the free book right away, but they probably don't continue with the email series. They probably don't consume all my content. But if I can get people to read the book, they may be more willing to take action on the offer. So I could do a few things. I could have like the free opt-in email sign up several times through the book, or I could just have the sale, like the straight to landing page discounted offer. I could say, I use Deadline Funnel for deadlines. I don't think in here I have talked about timers or anything like that, but I could say basically, you know, you have 3 days to accept this 75% off discount of this one offer. I could make that link and put it inside the book so that when they download the book and they're reading through the content, they can just click and go straight to the sales page. I think that's a really smart thing to do, especially if you have a free book or PDF that you're giving away. I have like 5 different PDFs or books, but the other really cool thing you can do is if you have those books published on Amazon, you can be spending directly with Amazon ads, with AMS ads. They can be profitable for nonfiction anyway. If you're charging more for your nonfiction book, you can be selling and making money with the book. But even if you're breaking even, or even if you're losing money with the Amazon ads, as long as a lot of those people are clicking and getting into your email list, or they're clicking and going to buy a product from you, and you don't want like your nonfiction Amazon book to be a sales pitch, you don't want it to be scammy, and that's not at all what I'm saying. But if you write a nonfiction book deliberately on purpose in a way that gets people to care about your message and believe you and like you and trust you, that's what you actually want to do in a nonfiction book. You're not selling anything except the idea, the dream. And if you do that well, they will want to follow up with you and to buy into your package or to buy from you, because if you've made them believe, if you've given them the confidence to believe that they can do this thing, that's a huge win. That's a valuable proposition. If they paid $5 or $10 for a book, they're going to be willing to spend more money with you out of gratitude and because they want to get to that next step. Anyway, so it's almost two different things, but basically I want to rewrite most of my nonfiction books. I want to have a lot of free nonfiction books. I want to turn them into audiobooks, because if you get your books turned into audiobooks, your price, I forget the word, but basically your product value is higher. So instead of selling a $2.99 book, if you're also selling some paperbacks or some audiobooks, it means you can spend more on Amazon ads or Facebook ads for the book because more people are buying from you. And that's not counting, all the upsells or the extra stuff that you have in the book. But basically rewriting the book so that it sells the dream, so that it builds a relationship, and also so that there's clear offers and calls to action in the book. There's a lot of stuff that can be done with that. If you want to learn more about that stuff, you should check out my bookseller blueprint program, because I just wrote a whole bunch of cool stuff about how to write nonfiction books, which is awesome. And I'm basically going to be using that strategy to rewrite all my own nonfiction books. Anyway, so that's number 16. That's kind of a whole thing, a whole thing in its own. And it's actually what my next big course is going to be about. The 21-day author platform is going to be about how to write a nonfiction book to launch, a six-figure business. A lot of other people are doing basically the same thing, but they aren't writing good books and they're not designing good covers. Like there's a whole bunch of people charging $15K or $25K for, we will be a book coach to help you finish a nonfiction book that will help you get clients or sell services, but they're just not doing it very well. I can do it better, and I want to focus on the product. I want to write a good book that people, like the book can earn money because the book is good. What a lot of these other people are doing, they're writing a book, but they're not trying to sell the book. They're not really writing good books. They're just using the book as a calling card or like an offer to upsell other things with like other forms of sales methodology. I think if you write a good book, the book will do its own sales automatically and you don't have to like close people or sell things. So that's kind of the focus that I want to have, is to build a passive income platform, an author platform where you can make lots of money, not only from book sales, but also from all the other things your book represents. But that's a whole other, I'll make a lot of other videos once I start going into that process. It's a 21-step process that I mapped out a couple years ago. And the reason I haven't done it yet is I want to make sure that I'm doing it effectively myself first. So this is all the stuff. I've been really focused on education and learning this year, and now I'm kind of putting it all together for my own platform. In 2019, I'm going to be scaling my platform and my book sales to a much bigger level, and then I'll turn it all into this new course, the 21-day author platform. Number 17 is having a hook at the beginning of your email series. I kind of mentioned some stuff about this, but my idea was basically, because I was reading this thing, and I was watching somebody else's video series and like their funnel and how they were doing things, and they had a whole free video series, but the first like 3 or 4 videos were just, it was really similar to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He has a great introduction and first chapter where he's not telling the secret. He says, he does all this stuff like, all these famous people use this secret. If you read this book, you will find the secret. It will change your life. Hundreds and thousands of other people have already discovered the secret and seen results. He's talking about the benefits. He's getting people excited, but he doesn't reveal the actual thing until later. So I thought I talk about doing that with a nonfiction book in the introduction and the preface, which I think is really important, but I also think you could do the same thing with your email funnel, so that in your email funnel, the first email and the first video, even maybe the first 2 or 3 emails or videos, should just be about hooking their attention. It should be about getting them to open. It should be about training them to continue opening your emails by providing value, and not just like I was doing before with education dumps or information dumps, because it's overwhelming, but by really hitting their emotions, by really hitting their desires, by focusing on, you know, the pain points, and this is where you are, this is where you want to be, there is a way to get there, I can help you to do it, but you have to open my emails. Anyway, so that's kind of something I want to test out when I'm revising my emails, is to really, before I get into any of the content or the material or the information or anything, first to focus on hooking their attention and getting their emotional buy-in, basically getting them to pay attention and listen and to want the things that you're going to be providing, which will boost your open rates for all of the other videos. It's an important thing. I'm sure a lot of other people talk about it, the first email, but I don't think anyone's quite done it in the way that I'm thinking about doing it, or to the extent that I'm thinking about doing it. So that's one trick that I'll be doing. So I actually got kicked out of that other restaurant that I was in because it closed down. It's 10 p.m. For me, I'm kind of just getting started. This is my afternoon. I'm going to talk about number 18 on this list, which is don't share details in the main emails. And what I mean is that in a lot of my other email sequences, I say this is all the details, the features, this is the price, this is a discount. I give away all the information about the product in the email. And I don't think that's really what you're supposed to do or what's smart to do. I think what works a lot better is to create desire for the product. The price doesn't really matter if they don't want it. So the first thing to do is make sure they want the product. So all your emails should just be about making them want the product enough to actually click and check it out and see, because the sales page is where you would actually like lead them through, overcome their objections, sell the product. You don't really want to do that in email. So what I'd like to try is just going through my email sequences and just taking out all of the like information and just focus on the why, like why this matters, how this is going to help you, all the case studies, all the testimonials, and just really focus on getting them to want to take that next step and believe in the dream, like I said earlier, rather than, you know, selling them with the descriptions of features in the actual email. Number 19 is YouTube, and this is another kind of exciting one because I've been doing YouTube for probably like 5 years, and I hated doing videos, so I had to make myself feel really uncomfortable and make crappy videos. And some of the videos I made, you know, 5 years ago are still on YouTube. They look terrible. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still not doing YouTube very well, but there are at least 3 super easy critical things that I need to rectify. So the first is just thumbnails. Most of my videos on YouTube don't have thumbnails. My YouTube videos rank really well on Google, so when people search for things on Google, my YouTube videos show up. There's usually a bar with 3 videos on top of the search results, which is great, except I don't really focus on keywords in my videos, and I don't really focus on the thumbnail graphic. So the graphic, the thumbnail, is really important because when that shows up on the top of Google, they will either click that or not. If it's a really colorful, clear, compelling graphic, it's much more likely I would get more clicks. So even for some of my high-performing videos, just putting on, you know, a featured image or a thumbnail for those videos could have a huge effect on visibility. The other 2 things, though, I'm not really doing are endnotes. I don't really know YouTube that well, actually, but I believe now you have endnotes with the possibility to put an endnote, which is like a thank you card or suggested next step or call to action, or even just something like 3 other videos. But you can customize that so it shows on all of your videos. I also don't have like a video intro. I really should have like a 30-second branding intro, which shows all the benefits or the associations I want people to think about me and my brand, Creative Indie. I should have one of those. I don't. Someday I'll get a little more into video editing and fix that. But on this step, which is 19, it's kind of 3 big things. It's thumbs, endnotes, keywords, because I could be doing my keywords a lot better. There's ways to get your video to rank a lot better on YouTube. And the other smart thing that is really cool, one of my friends does, is he puts an ad for his own stuff in the middle of his own videos. So if you're watching a video, he would just like edit the real video so that at the, you know, halfway point, he interrupts himself and say, hey, if you're enjoying this video, you might want to check out this product or this opt-in or whatever. That's a really cool idea. I don't know that I might have to like edit all my videos because I'm not sure if there's an easy way to just do that. It might make more sense in the future to start doing that if I do a little bit more video editing or polishing on my videos. As you can see with this video, I don't do that. I produce a lot of content, but I don't really focus on cleaning it up or making it pretty. That's a big project I've been avoiding for a long time, but like a month ago, I actually made a template to use for my YouTube thumbnails, and then I made a YouTube video about the template I'm going to use. I just haven't actually gone through and made them yet. That's something I really should outsource, or I could easily outsource, but I'll get that done this month. The next one, we're on number 20 of this 21, and actually it's going to be 22. I thought of a new one as I was coming over here, but we're on number 20, and this is some kind of infographic. This is a trick I actually learned from a friend of mine here in Chiang Mai, which I just didn't think about it doing it this way. But basically, if you have a cool infographic, and I've already focused in the last couple months, I've been improving my main blog creativity with images. Sorry about the plane, we're right next to the airport here. It's gonna pass in a second. So I've been making a lot of images for my blog. And like on YouTube, I also haven't had featured images on most of my blog posts. So that's something I've been going back through. I made a consistent branded theme for my thumbnails or my featured images, and I've just been going through and adding them. And then I've also made, the featured images is kind of more long. It's great for social media shares, but I've also made a Pinterest sized image, which is a different ratio. It's just a longer because it looks better on Pinterest. It's basically the same thing. It's like the headline of the blog post and the benefits or whatever, and maybe your blog at the bottom, but one is a featured image on top and one is somewhere in the content. There's a Pinterest image. Just in case people want to pin it, you get links back from Pinterest. It improves your SEO and everything. So that's what I have been working on, is just those kinds of things. But what I haven't really done yet is also focus on building infographics. So for all the like top 10 ways, or even for this post, which is like 22 ways to boost your evergreen funnels, that can be not only a nice featured image and a Pinterest image, it can also be an infographic by just using the checklist, basically making an image picture of the checklist with the steps. That could be a really good piece of content. And the idea, I think I was talking to a friend earlier, and he does LinkedIn consulting and coaching, and I told him one thing that would be awesome is just a LinkedIn checklist, which is like, here's my before, here's my after, and then a one page, like these are the 10 things I did to fix my LinkedIn profile page. I think that kind of content where it's just like everything is in the image, all the benefits are in the image. I think that's really awesome. It's really easy to share. It's really easy to share on social media. I want to make some things like that. I've made some things like that in the past, but I really want to focus on that as a strategy, making like 20 of them or 30 of them or 50 of them. I can make one in maybe an hour, depending on how hard it is. And if I use one kind of a template for the checklist, I can make like dozens a day. That's one big project. But one of my ideas, for example, on one of my pages, I have a lot of free tools for book cover design. So I want to have a call to action that gets people to the next step. And I want it to be something like, is your book cover good enough? Because if they're looking for example, my 3D book cover templates, which are awesome, you just plug in your cover and it makes a 3D template. It's the best thing on the internet, but a lot of people are using the free tool and they don't sign up for anything, they don't buy anything, they may not know who I am or care. So without being pushy, I don't want to put it behind like a paywall or an opt-in form, but down at the bottom, I want to get their attention. So if I say something like, is your book cover good enough? Find out with our free checklist or something like that. What I want to have, and what I've already made actually, is basically a score sheet. So you can look at the 10 or 15 or 20 attributes, and I'll give you 5 points, 10 points, or like -5 points or -10 points if you're using these things on your book cover or doing or not doing these things on your book cover. And the advantage is, instead of like a big blog post, and it could also be a big blog post, but the advantage is people could just kind of look at their book cover and look at the checklist and score themselves and figure out if their cover is good enough, and if they don't score very well. It's like an easy way to self-identify all the problems with your book cover that could be causing it to harm sales. And it's a really good piece of content because people can share not only the page or the blog post with that information, but just the image. It'd make a really good share on social media or anywhere because all the information is right there. It's something that's really easy. So those kind of things. I'm going to be making that, but I'll be making those kinds of things so that there's basically like a call to action, a hook, a distraction to get them to something else, and then a really nice long checklist with a great infographic that people can share, and then a call to action at the bottom that leads them to a second step. Like if your book cover isn't good enough, or like if you scored less than 75% on this quiz, you should probably buy this course on book cover design so that you can figure out what went wrong. Something like that. So like a little two-step process, but basically including infographics for my content. Number 21 is creating multiple funnels for your products. And what this means, I think I got this from someone recently, but I was looking at a course about, you know, conversion, evergreen funnels, and all this stuff. I think it was Ramit Sethi, and he was saying that the biggest thing that impacted conversion and sales wasn't any piece of his funnel that he was tweaking. It was just stacking offers together. So when they sign up for something, they'd go through one email funnel, a whole sequence, and then they'd be added on to another funnel for another product. So it's another like 7-day warm-up sequence, cards closing, cards opening, whatever. But basically, like, once they've signed up for one thing, just continue repeating funnels for other products. I have a lot of free books and a lot of different courses now. I have a lot of different things to offer. So instead of like, I bet most of my funnels now run for about 30 days or less. After that, there's just nothing. I don't, like, I put them on maybe, what do you call it, a blast email, so like they get notified of new updates, or if I send out a campaign, but there's nothing else. What works really well and what I want to test is once I fixed all these funnels and got them working, just to stack them all together. So if they go through one, there might be like a 2-week break, and then I would start up again with the next offer and the next offer. So I want to have like 3 months or 6 months of content. You don't just want to make the offer once, because also they may not be ready for the offer the first time. My guerrilla publishing course doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense if you have never written a book before and you're not sure if you're going to finish a book. So I might make the offer, but 6 months from now, a year from now, I want to maybe put that offer in front of you again, because you may not have been ready for it. Things might change. So you can actually repeat even the same offers over a long period of time. I'm going for 3 months or 6 months. Eventually, I'd like to build out to like a year or something like that. I may not have time to, you know, do all of that stuff this month, but at least I want to make sure that my emails are converting well for the main reason they signed up, but also that I put them into another funnel. I think right now, if they sign up for the DIY stuff, after that funnel, I offer them the guerrilla publishing book, which is like the next step, book marketing stuff. But I should also be featuring other products, other affiliate stuff, things that I recommend. When I talk about editing, I should talk about Grammarly. Basically, you want to, it sounds strange to say this, but you kind of want to squeeze as much money out of your list as possible. And that's just because if you have a really big list and you're not earning any money, you can't scale your platform, which means you can't help as many people. The more money you can generate out of your existing platforms, the more you can focus your time and energy on creating high-value stuff for more people. Okay, so the last one, the 22nd one, which I thought about when I was driving over here, is actually something I'm already doing, which is just to rebuild my website. So that's actually a massive project. It's not something I really planned on getting into this month. But like I said, I want to fix all my stuff this month, December 2018, so that all of next year I can really be scaling up, focusing on my writing, focusing on the big passion projects that are going to take my, basically the things that I'm passionate about, things that I want to do, but also things that are moving me in the direction that I want to go. And that has to be deliberate. The problem with just doing like client work or services is you're not really making the decision of what direction you're going in. So the Black Friday offer I put together a couple days ago was actually basically about website redesign, because what I've wanted to do for a long time is offer some kind of author WordPress template. I have a free course on setting up WordPress, but it's a few years old, and I've always focused on simple content-first websites that get traffic, because if you get organic traffic, you don't really have to spend on ads or other things. But I haven't really focused on conversion-optimized websites, which means like if you're getting, for example, Creativity gets I think a couple thousand people a day, but out of all those people, maybe like 10 people sign up for stuff through the Creativity website. So that's a lot of traffic that is being underutilized. There are ways around it. I tried adding a couple of pop-ups, but that gets kind of weird if you have like a slide-in opt-in and a exit intent opt-in and like content upgrades. It just gets a little bit messy. And basically, even though it's, I'm happy with my blog, it works, I get traffic, people like it, it's not conversion optimized. It's not getting people to trust me or believe me or want to get to know me or anything like that. And there are ways to set up a personal branded website in a way that does a lot of really valuable things. So what I'll probably do is I'll redo my creativity website with DV, which is a theme that I recommend for a lot of stuff, and then I might redo my 2 DIY sites with Thrive themes. The DIY sites, I think they're like on Optimized Press, but they're kind of cobbled together. So like the home landing page looks okay, but it has a different logo from the blog. The blog looks pretty terrible, and it really shouldn't. If I'm a designer, if I have good products for sale, I shouldn't be using a really ugly website, which is what I teach against. So it's an ambitious thing to redesign websites. I might hire it out and get it done faster because I don't really want to, learn all of these new systems. But the idea is to, at least on creativity, have a homepage that's set up in a way like on the top. And this is also what I would do for books or book pages or my author pages. I'm going to do this for my fiction site as well as a test. But you'd have like a big welcome opt-in offer on top. Then you'd have like maybe the 3 main subjects you deal with. Are you looking for X, Y, or A, B, or C? Helping them to find solutions to the problems that they want. Then maybe like personal biography, testimonials, personal credibility boosting, and then another opt-in offer at the back. So there's a lot of examples of this. Thrive Themes just put out a really good article breakdown of like all the experts in the industry and what they're doing on their websites. So I'll kind of be using that as my guide. So that's the 22nd thing. That's, any one of those things could be a massive project, but my plan is, it's already the 4th of December. I want to finish these things in the next 22 days, because my birthday is December 22nd. I would like to have all of these done, which means doing about 1 a day. I'll have to stack a few of them up. A few of them won't take me very much time, and I can do like 3 or 4 a day. But the idea of December is to do all of these things 1 a day. 1 a day, they're manageable chunks. I could do one of these in, probably less than 4 hours if I just focused on it. So 1 at a time. I actually have set up a co-working with a friend of mine, so we're going to do like 8 hours a day of sitting together working on our stuff. I think I can get it done. And my big ambitious goal, because I like to set ambitious goals for myself, is to grow my income to 22K, so it all matches, by the end of the month. So that's 22,000 of passive income, which won't include like advertising costs, because I do plan to start advertising. I'm not really advertising now. So if I can spend 5,000 to make 22,000, that's fine. If I have to spend 10 or 15,000, that's not as good, but I'm willing to do it to hit that benchmark just to show that I can do it. I think that also kind of forces me to keep spending more money, because I think when you get started with advertising, of course you should start slow and cautiously. I'm not really a cautious person, but you also want, like if it's working, you want to spend more money, and you want to, if it's breaking even, you want to spend more money. I want to build my list really quickly this year, so I have to learn about advertising quickly, which means I'm probably gonna have to fail, and I'll probably have some failed ads, some failed experiments, but I have to start doing it now. So those are the things I'm gonna do and set up and be working on all month. But by the end of the month, the 22nd, I have that income goal, which is actually only about double my current income. Shouldn't be impossible to hit. It's a big goal that will kind of keep me reaching forward. It's a quantum leap forward because, I've had months where I do better than that when I do a course launch, but what I'm really trying to do is, consistently make a bunch of money every month without doing a lot of work, by building all of these funnels and products to just work in the background so that I can really focus my time on the high-level creative projects that I'm more passionate about. So that's what I'm going to be working on in December. Like I said, I'll make a blog post. I think I'll actually make like a long blog post and show you exactly what I've done, like the before and after for each one of those things, which I think would be a pretty good piece of content. That's what I'll be working on. Hopefully by the time I get to my birthday, I've succeeded in a lot of these things, and then I can, put out more books or spend more of my time really where people say your zone of genius, like the thing that you can do the best that nobody else can do, the thing that you're excited about, that's what you really want to spend your time doing. I haven't been doing that for a while, the last few years, so I'm really excited about starting to focus on those things. So I hope this video was useful. If so, let me know in the comments which of these you think is the most interesting or which one you're going to try first. Bye-bye.